Watch out!
Hey guys, today's a great day. You want to know why? Because it's my birthday! So please make sure you have a great day today because I want this day to be special for everyone, not just myself. Now, if you're anything like me, you grew up playing Pokemon passively, handheld, while watching television. Pokemon's combat has always been extremely passive in mainline, but the Pokemon Legends series is proving that it wants more of our attention. Legends Arceus already demanded our eyes on the screen because if we looked away, a wild Pokemon could very well run up and KO your main character. Still, we could activate a battle if we so chose, and then take our eyes off the screen. Now it seems we won't be able to do that either. Legends EA is aiming to make Pokemon battles the main event this time around. Now we, and our Pokemon, will have to run around, dodge moves, and activate retaliatory attacks to win fights. Regardless of what battle format you prefer, there's a decent amount of hidden details that seem to have been overlooked by the Pokemon community. So, I'm here today to give you detailed insight into all of it and paint you an accurate picture of what it will feel like to do battle in Pokemon Legends EA. Let's start from the top. Remember that the map of Lumiose is broken up in ways that have spots called Wild Zones. So in this scene here, upon entering a Wild Zone, we see a question mark atop Bunnelby's head. This indicates that Pokemon will have different reactions to a trainer being nearby, just like in previous titles. Bunnelby noticed us, but so far, we don't get to see in what way its behavior will change once we approach it further. While encountering Fletchling, an icon of 4 arrows pointed upward appears next to them. You'll notice we catch them rather easily head-on. Conversely, in our time encountering Flaffy, they break out of the ball. A little while later, we initiate a battle, and we can see there are only 2 arrows next to Flaffy. When we defeat them, the icon changes to 3. This must mean the amount of arrows visible in the icon indicates how easy the Pokemon will be to catch. Less arrows is harder, and more arrows is easier. While battles are semi-real time with cooldowns, we seem to still retain a notification bar on the right side of the screen that tells us what moves are being performed and if they're super effective or not very effective. This bar is updated immediately as moves are activated, so it could be an extra indicator for the player to use to stay ahead while in combat, especially if you're someone who has trouble remembering what move animations are linked to what moves. You can use this list to know exactly what's going on. A quality of life improvement from PLA is retained, where after we finish a battle or a catch, the experience for your Pokemon is shown to increase on the left side of the screen as you remain in full control of your character. The gameplay doesn't stop. This is so respectful of the player's time, and I'm glad to see it remain here. We seem to gain experience for our Pokemon both by defeating and catching them, as seen in our battle with Flaffy. Notice the experience goes up after we beat them, and then notice it goes up again after we catch them. This may incentivize players to beat Pokemon before catching if you're trying to farm experience. Now, Pokemon also seem to retain locked eyes while in combat. They did this back in Pokemon Legends Arceus and Scarlet Violet as well, but the impact of this, what was once subtle detail, now feels utterly necessary. And I love the way that it helps these Pokemon encounters look so natural in ZA, like just look at how Totodile keeps his eye on Tepig and vice versa. It's important to note that how far you are from your Pokemon in combat might affect your move casting times. As you see here, we have to wait for the command reticle to physically touch our Pokemon. It really does seem to lock onto them faster in shots where our player is closer to them. That will be just another aspect of combat to manage as you go through. Speaking of which, obviously we've all deduced that battles are now focused on cooldowns for your Pokemon moves rather than power points. Even when you use one move, your other moves are up for use immediately after if you hadn't used them already. As the player, we'll need to get a timing down for each individual Pokemon's move pool and what order we'd want to use their moves and plan accordingly beforehand. This might be pretty tough for a lot of players. Part of that planning will be influenced by the speed stat of moves and buff-debuff moves. Like Legends Arceus, moves that aren't necessarily as powerful will retain their use throughout the entire game thanks to having a higher speed stat. I like that aspect because it represents a more tight, focused move pool and thought-out combat system. Anyone else? Speaking of moves though, Stealth Rock seems to have a completely new function now. Instead of hurting Pokemon as they're switched out or even doing damage over time like in PLA, this time around they act as a stage hazard that enemy Pokemon need to avoid touching as they move. Notice Talonflame takes damage as they rush in to do a physical attack. Heck, it even cancels out Talonflame's move entirely. Moves like Stealth Rock will likely encourage enemies to only use special attacks while it's active to avoid taking damage by running up for physical attacks. Mega Evolution seems to power up the effects of every move in your Pokemon's pool. When we activate it, a cutscene will play showing your Pokemon Mega Evolving. Damage-based moves seem to be very prone to one-shotting anything in their path, and when your Pokemon is in its powered-up state, a timer in the bottom right activates, letting you know that this power-up won't last forever. Also, there's a symbol that appears next to Mega Moves. It looks like a C and a plus, or an O and a plus. Not sure if they really are meant to represent letters per se, but what I do know about this symbol is that it resembles the Quasar logo, as well as generally resembling the letter Q, which is also the first letter of Quasar. This is likely just to reference that Quasar is the company responsible for Mega Evolving technology. The D-pad seems to be what we use to select our Pokemon in our party while in battle. It's unclear so far what other input is needed to activate the switch, but if it's like Legends Arceus, then we'll likely press R2 to activate that switch. Now about dodging mechanics. We're told we have to guide our Pokemon to dodge attacks. So far it seems like our Pokemon follow us during combat, and that's the only way they will move to dodge. However, I wonder, perhaps your Pokemon will try to move independently of you. I sure hope so, because it would feel very restrictive on the player to have your Pokemon follow you around in combat, since that would mean we can't really position ourselves to get good angles during the fight. Seeing that the rival and other NPC trainers don't run around to get their Pokemon to follow them in the footage, that gives me hope. But earlier we also witnessed a quick clip of our trainer doing a dodge roll as Lucario follows him in one scene. Again, all of these clips show our Pokemon following our trainer almost exactly, which is giving me some doubts about how fun that will be, but the dodge roll itself makes me question why we have it at all. Will our player character have an independent health bar like in Legends Arceus? So far nothing in the trailers have indicated that, but one thing is clear. This movement option will be available to us when we're in Wild Zones, at the very least. It also opens my mind up to the possibility that if we're able to have a dodge roll in combat, then maybe there will be less of a divide between being in and out of combat than ever before. Like in Pokemon Legends Arceus, all other wild Pokemon would disappear once you're in a fight, and sometimes there would be several of them already because they were already attacking you before the battle started. In Scarlet Violet, when you started battles, it would always be one-on-one or double battles if you're in a trainer battle, but you could see wild Pokemon walk up and watch the battle. So they never got removed from the scene when we entered the fight. So here in ZA, could we accidentally get other wild Pokemon to attack us after we've already initiated a battle with one in the wild zone? Leaks have revealed that several wild Pokemon can gang up on the player, but I firmly believe that this time around, instead of them having to be nearby before a battle starts, they can actually join in mid-fight if we accidentally agitate them while fighting another Pokemon. This actually would be similar to Xenoblade, just like the combat already is, as sometimes running away from one enemy in that game would just lead to several chasing you as you sprint for your life. Either way, if you have thoughts or answers to some of my questions, feel free to comment them down below so we can all discuss. Also, let us know if I missed any combat details. I would love to hear it. Afterwards, check out more of my videos like this one where I discuss the graphics of Pokemon Legends EA. The link is right in front of you and in the pinned comment. Also, if you like what I do and want your name featured at the end of all of my videos, please join the Patreon with the link in front of you and in the description, or become a channel member right here on YouTube. I've been johtojonny, and I'll catch you all there.